the federal government is missing in action because it has diverted resources for immigration resettlement. Let me say that again. According to Corey Mills, that the federal government is not able to properly respond to what's happening in North Carolina, which is terrible flooding, because the federal government is too busy helping foreigners that have broken into America. Let's play cut 164.
Delivering insulin, oxygen bottles. A lot of people, it's not just food and water and non-perishables, but it's medications that they're short on. So trying to fulfill those needs until the federal government can get up and do what they need to be doing. So that's really where the missing piece is the federal piece. And again, let's go ahead and point out the obvious, which is that FEMA had utilized a large majority of the personnel who should be here taking care of this to be replaced or repurposed, if you will, for immigration resettlement, when we need to be focusing on Americans and what's going on, whether it be in Maui, Palestine, Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, or Tennessee.
So FEMA has run out of money for Hurricane Helene while spending hundreds of millions on migrants. That is the centersquare.com that is reporting. And AP News says this: Mayorkas warns that FEMA doesn't have enough funding to last through the hurricane season. Now, FEMA, of course, is the Federal Emergency Management Agency that operates to try to respond to crises like this. So your federal government is forsaking American citizens that are literally drowning in North Carolina and prioritizing foreigners that are breaking into the country. Let me tell you who they are prioritizing. They're prioritizing people that are, another caravan is coming to the country right now, by the way. Put 175 up as B-roll. This is who Kamala Harris is prioritizing. The foreigners that are coming up right now through the Darien Gap, that's them. That's where your money is going. Your emergency management taxpayer money is not going to help your fellow countrymen. It's going to help people that are breaking into the nation. FEMA's role, by the way, is natural disasters. It's not for foreigners or migration. FEMA is now subsidizing the mass migration. Your taxpayer dollars are helping the breaking in of your nation. And these foreigners will get more money than hurricane victims. Ukraine will get more money than these hurricane victims. When Donald Trump says America first, this is what he means. Now understand, the ruling class in D.C. has total contempt for North Carolina, Western North Carolina, for Asheville, for Boone, because this is conservative country. Why would you take care of your own people? Just like East Palestine. These are conservative white Christians. Let's just let them drown. Now, we don't know actually how many Americans or North Carolinians have died in this flooding. I go to CNN.com, not a whisper about the flooding in North Carolina. The media has a total blackout of what's happening in our own country. And your taxpayer dollars are going to subsidize the breaking in of our beloved country. And this is a pattern. Americans were left behind in Afghanistan. East Palestine was forgotten. What happened in the Maui fires, by the way? That was a strange thing. How many people died there? Instead, we have Kamala Harris doing a photo op wearing a crisis jacket, promising $750 apiece. Play cut 177.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, such as food, baby formula, and the like. And you can apply now for anyone who's watching this who has been affected. There are FEMA personnel who are going door to door to interact personally with folks, especially those who do not have electricity. But also that aid, if you have electricity, can be applied for online. And I encourage people to do that. FEMA will just basically verify your address, and then the process should take hold.
She couldn't care less for the people of North Carolina. Let me tell you what she should do if she was a leader. She would say, I am mobilizing every military asset nearby. We are going to have hundreds of thousands of people come and offer relief. There will not be a single person that goes without electricity within a week or two. And we will do whatever we can. We will have the full force of the federal government help. Instead, she's reading off some script saying, here's $750. This is a North Carolina resident on the lack of federal response. Again, remember, your government hates you. Your government despises you. They don't care about what you believe. They don't care about your worldview. If you're drowning, it's irrelevant to them. And I've honestly spent a couple days to not do this topic because I've been giving the federal government the benefit of the doubt. I know they haven't earned it, but I said, okay, come on. They got to at least get their act together, and they haven't. This has been a reprehensible, repulsive response. And as Corey Mills said on television, the money that should be spent on all of this, the money that should be spent on helping Americans, is being spent to facilitate mass migration on the southern border. Do you guys get luxury hotels paid for by taxpayer dollars? Anyone in the audience get a luxury hotel? Well, if you break into the country, you get a luxury hotel in downtown New York. When's the last time you got a flight paid for you? Well, if you break into our country, you get a taxpayer-funded flight. Is your cell phone bill covered? If you break into our country, you get a taxpayer-funded cell phone bill. Do you guys get your food for free? If you break into this country, you guys get taxpayer-funded food stamps. $1 billion of FEMA money has now gone to illegals. Of FEMA. Which is hilarious, by the way, because the fact they're using FEMA is actually acknowledging that the southern border is a crisis, by definition, because it is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Let's play cut 176, please.
When we heard that Biden was just going to be, flying around, it kind of just made us feel like, as our president, where is that, guidance where, you're supposed to be kind of here helping us with this, and just almost it's almost a sense of abandonment, and like I said, it's mainly just the community coming together and helping each other out with all of this.
It's the community helping the community, wiping out one of the most red parts of North Carolina. Yes, I know Asheville is not red. I know that. It's like a hippie colony. But all the outskirts of Western North Carolina are some of the reddest parts of the country. And that's not insignificant. The more conservative that you are, like East Palestine, the more Trump you are, your federal government just doesn't care about you. Oh, your border is getting invaded? I don't care. However, if a bunch of foreigners were dying and drowning, this would be the #1 news story in the country. Because think about it. Remember when a bunch of Border Patrol allegedly whipped migrants on the southern border? That was the #1 news story in the country. Yet Americans are drowning in North Carolina, and the federal government barely lifts a finger. And then Alejandro Mayorkas says, we're out of money because we spent too much money on the people breaking into the United States of America. This is Joe Biden announcing $2.4 billion for Ukraine and no more aid for Hurricane Helene. Let me just repeat. The ruling consensus in D.C. is that the homeland of the country is insignificant and an annoyance. The wars abroad are the priority. Play cut 16.
I'm proud to announce a new $2.4 billion package of security assistance. We've given them all everything that we have. We're on the ground ahead of time, so we're working hard.
Are there any more resources the federal government could be giving them?
No, we have pre-planned a significant amount of it, even though they didn't ask for it yet.
It's an insult to every one of you. And that is the America Last agenda of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So far this year, the United States has given $24.4 billion to Ukraine, $11.3 billion to Israel, $1.9 billion to Ethiopia, $1.6 billion to Jordan, $1.4 billion to Egypt, $1.1 billion to Afghanistan, $1.1 billion to Somalia, $1.1 billion to Yemen, $987 million to the Congo, $896 million to Syria, $9,000 per illegal immigrant that has entered the United States, and Americans who have lost everything to Hurricane Helene will be getting $750 courtesy of FEMA. North Carolina Democrat Governor Roy Cooper still has not deployed 1,000 troops approved to assist in the Hurricane Helene recovery. And a lot of people are asking, well, how is North Carolina going to vote in all this? They're working on mobile precincts, but honestly, the Democrats don't care. They hope that everyone there is disenfranchised. It's super red part of the country. This could flip North Carolina, by the way, to a blue state. Maybe that's why they're doing it. This could flip North Carolina into a blue state. Just the entire part of North Carolina is demolished, underwater, and flooded. Millions of people that are suffering there. And we have no idea how many have died. No idea. And this is the commonality of the ruling regime. $941 million of FEMA's funding went to illegals. But not to you. I mean, you're just a sucker in this game. If you're from Honduras or Venezuela, you matter far more to the federal government than the American people. That's the way the current composition of the Kamala Harris worldview is. You come last. Foreigners come first. This is a fundamental. They wonder why Trump is so popular. They wonder why our movement is ascendant. This is an elementary breakdown of why government exists. Government exists first and foremost to serve its citizens, not serve ideas or abstractions or foreigners. But understand, as your fellow countrymen are drowning and babies are face down in rivers, your taxpayer dollars being used for luxury hotels for a bunch of foreigners in downtown New York.